Welcome everyone to Dream Academia. Today is the second lecture on differential calculus, and today we will be discussing the topic bijective and periodic functions. So before knowing what is a bijective function, you should know what is an injective and what is a surjective function. Okay, so basically a one function is also known as an injective function, and a function is called an injective function if different elements of A have different images in B. So no two elements in A can have the same image F. In this example, as you can see that each of the elements in the set A has different images in set B. So your function f of x is an injective function or one function. So in the question it can be given either as one function or as injective function. Injective function is more mathematical term, so you should know. Next we will discuss about the methods to check whether your given function is injective or not. Okay. First is theoretically. So if f of x1 equals to f of x2, and after solving this equation, if you get x1 equals to x2, then your function f of x is injective. Okay, you have to just put two values, and these terms are not original values. These are just general values, x1 and x2. Don't put any normal value like 3 or 4. Just put general values x1, x2, and after solving the equation, if you get your result as this, then your function is injective. And this method is generally lengthy, so avoid doing this method. We will discuss two more methods which are more easier and quick. Okay. Second method is graphical method. If you can draw the graph of the function, then it's always better and always the most fastest method. Okay. So if you have to draw the graph, and then you have to draw a line parallel to your x-axis, and if that line cuts the graph only at one point, as you can see in this graph, which is the graph of y is equals to x cubed, this line, any value for y equals to k, any value, the line is, if the line is cutting the graph at only one point, then your function is a one function. Okay, or injective function. And if the line is cutting the graph at 2 points, as you can see here, it is cutting at 2 points x1 and x2, then your graph is not a not a one function, it is a many one function, or it is not injective. It is not injective. Okay, this is the example of y is equals to under root 4 minus x square. Okay, which is the positive part of the circle x square plus y square equals to 4. Okay, now next method. This is the most helpful and quickest method by calculus. What you have to do, you have to find the first order derivative of the function. You have to find f dash x. Okay, after finding the first order derivative, you have to check whether your function is strictly increasing or strictly decreasing. Now I have said strictly increasing. That means whether your f dash x is greater than 0 or your f dash x is strictly less than 0, not less than equal to. Since it is strictly increasing or decreasing, so you have to check whether it is strictly greater than or strictly less than 0. Okay, and if your graph, if the derivative, the first derivative is coming out to be any one of these two, then your function is a one function or injective function. Okay. Okay. Now this is very obvious that a function which is not one is many one, or it is not injective. So here you can see that the elements in a x2 and x3 is being mapped to a same element in B, that is y2, the same element. So both of them has the same image. So they are not under a function which is one. So the function f of x is many one or not injective. Okay, fine. So now we have known what is injective function. Now we will know what is surjective function. So see, an onto function is called a surjective function. So what is the onto function? If the range of the function, very easy thing, if the range of the function is equal to its domain, if the range of the function is equals to its codomain, then it is an onto function. So I have said in the beginning in one of my lecture in functions while solving range domain that it is not necessary that your range is always equal to the codomain. Codomain is this entire set B. Okay, over here you can see this entire set B is your codomain, but the range in this case, in this example, the range is only y1 and y2. So in this case, the range is not equal to the codomain, so this is not an onto function. But if your range comes out to be equal to the codomain, then your function is an onto or surjective function. Surjective, you have to know the term surjective because this is a mathematical term which will be used mostly in questions. Okay, fine. So next is into function. So a function which is not onto is an into function or it is not surjective function. If your function is coming out to be into, that is your range is not equals to the codomain, then your function is not a surjective function. Okay. Now bijective function. What is a bijective function? A function which is both injective, that is a function which is both one-on, and surjective, that is onto, is known as a bijective function. So if your function is both injective and surjective, then your function is a bijective function. And a bijective function has its inverse. So inverse exists of only those functions which are bijective. Okay. Okay. Next is the second part of this lecture, that is periodic functions. So a function f of x is said to be a periodic function if there exists a positive real number t such that f of x plus t equals to f of x for all x belongs to R. So if the function repeats itself after an interval of t, after every interval of t it is repeating itself, the same nature of function is coming out, then your function will have a period of t and your function will be periodic. So in this case you can see this is an example that the period of sin x is 2 pi because after an interval of 2 pi the graph repeats itself. This is basically your graph of sin x till 2 pi, and after 2 pi again the same thing will repeat, and also on the positive side same for the negative side. So your function sin x is a periodic function with period 2 pi. Okay. Okay. Now one extra thing that I will say, that is homogeneous function. Okay, what is a homogeneous function? So suppose you have a function of the form f of tx and ty. This is, I have taken this example for two variable function. This can be 3, 4 or multivariable also. Okay. So if a function of the form f of tx comma ty can be expressed in the form t to the power n into f of x y, then your function f is called a homogeneous function, and the order of that particular function would be n, sorry not k, would be n. Okay, this t to the power n, whatever you are getting, this value n is the order. Okay, so here I have taken an example. Suppose you have been given a function of two variables as x square minus xy plus y square. Now, how you will understand or find out the order? So you will put x equals to tu, y is equals to tv. Then you solve this equation, put the values in this equation and solve it. And after solving, you can get that t square common and the rest of the equation is same as the equation of f of xy. So you can, this equation f of a function in the terms of u and v can be expressed as t square f of uv. So this is a homogeneous function and the order of the function is 2. Okay, so this is a homogeneous function, and if a function is a periodic function, then there will be some properties of the function. Okay, first would be the suppose f of x has a period of t, then your suppose the function is given as f of x plus minus k, then the period of the function will also be t, not t plus minus k, it will be t. Now suppose you have been given f of x, then the period would be t by mod a. Okay, even if it is negative, we should take the positive values because period cannot be negative. Next, f of x plus minus g of x. Suppose you have two functions f of x and g of x, and h of x is written as f of x plus minus g of x. Any binary operation, it can be multiplication, division, anything. And suppose that f of x has a period t1 and g of x has a period t2, then the period of h of x is the LCM of the periods of f of x and g of x. LCM of t1 and t2. Okay. So now we will start with the questions. First question. Find the period of f of x equals to sin x by 3 plus tan 3x. So it would be based on the points that we have just read on the properties of periodic functions. So what is the first we will do individually, find out the periods of each of the functions. So we have to find out the period of sin x by 3 first. तो sin x का पीरियड क्या होता है, इधर देखो sin x का पीरियड क्या होता है 2 pi. So here in this case a equals to 1 by 3. So sin x by 3 का पीरियड क्या होगा, sin x का पीरियड divided by mod a, that is 2 pi divided by 1 by 3, that is equals to 6 pi. Okay, and tan x का अब tan 3x का पीरियड निकालेंगे तो tan x का पीरियड क्या होता है पाई, tan x का पीरियड पाई होता है, तो tan 3x का पीरियड क्या होगा पाई बाय 3. Okay, now you have got the period of two functions. Now you have to find the LCM. You have to find the LCM of 6 pi and pi by 3. So what would be the period of 6 pi and pi by 3? So it would be, okay, now this is a fraction and this is a normal number. Okay, this is a fractional number, this is a integral number. So if you have to find the LCM of a fraction, then you have to find the LCM of numerator by HCF of denominator. Now LCM of 6 pi and pi would be 6 pi, and the HCF of denominator, that is 1 and 3, is 1. So it would be 6 pi. So the period would be 6 pi. Okay. Fine. Now next question. If f of x comma y equals to 1 pi x plus y, and suppose this is a homogeneous function, it has been said this is homogeneous, so we have to find that degree of the function. So how we will do this? So we will follow the technique that we have learned. So I will put x equals to ut and y equals to vt in this equation. So I will find f of ut comma vt, that would be equals to 1 by ut plus vt, that would be equals to 1 by t into 1 by u plus v. I have taken t common, and that can be written as t to the power minus 1 by u plus v. Okay, So I have expressed this function to the power minus 1 f of uv. So I have expressed this function of the form t to the power n f of uv. So n is equals to minus 1 in this case. So the order would be equals to minus 1. Option D. Fine. Next question. Okay, so this question came in 2018 WebG. Read the question first. Important question. If f is defined as a function from the set of on the set of real numbers, and f of x is given by e to the power x, and another function g of x is defined on the set of real numbers, which is given by g of x equals to x square. And one more thing, just a tip. During एग्जाम इफ यू हैव बीन गिवन अ बिग क्वेश्चन, जैसे कि ये क्वेश्चन बहुत बड़ा है, बहुत सारा डेटा है क्वेश्चन के अंदर, तो आप इम्पोर्टेंट डेटा को अंडरलाइन करते रहिए वाइल रीडिंग, क्योंकि ऐसा बहुत बार होता है, मेरे साथ भी हुआ है, एक क्वेश्चन को आप एक बार पढ़ने से समझ ना ही सकते हो, यू मे हैव टू रीड द क्वेश्चन ट्वाइस और थ्राइस. That time, every time you have to find the values, and while solving also again you have to find the values. It will take time. And since WebG is a very competitive exam and you have to do a lot of time management, you should know the tips and tricks. Okay, तो अंडरलाइन करते रहिए इम्पोर्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन और डेटा जो क्वेश्चन में गिवन है while reading. Okay, so now we will find what we have to find. They have defined another mapping g of f, that is g of f of x. G of f is defined by, say it is given only g of f of x. Then you have to choose among the following options. Okay, so we will solve the question now. देखो पहले क्या बोला है, पहले तो आप क्वेश्चन का जो वैल्यूज गिवन है लिख लो. f of x is given as e to the power x and g of x is given as x square. Okay, now I will write g of f of x, क्योंकि मेरे क्वेश्चन मुझे आंसर में पूछा है ना क्वेश्चन में, वहाँ पे मुझे g of x, g of f, g of f, g of f in each of the option it is given. So you have to work with g of f also. So I will find out this as e to the power x whole square, that is e to the power 2x. So अब e to the power x का ग्राफ जब आपको पता ही है, तो e to the power 2x का ग्राफ भी आप ड्रॉ कर सकते हो. It would be of the same nature, e to the power 2x. Now देखो अब ग्राफ आपसे ड्रॉ हो गया, आप e to the power x और e to the power 2x का ग्राफ तो सेम नेचर का होगा. अब और एक ग्राफ आप यहाँ पे ड्रॉ कर लीजिए, दैट इज द ग्राफ ऑफ what, g of x, that is x square, like this, x square. Now you see how to solve. इंजेक्टिव बाइजेक्टिव सब्जेक्टिव टर्म्स देख के आप कंफ्यूज मत हो जाओ, ठीक है. आप ऐसे देखो, what will be about g of f of x, g of f of x to the power 2x. This one is definitely injective. Why? Because if I draw a line parallel to the x-axis, it will cut the graph at only one point. So this is definitely injective. Okay. Now what about bijective? Your function is not bijective. Why it is not bijective? Because this function, this e to the power 2x is not surjective. The domain, the range is not equals to the codomain. So this is not subjective. Why? Because you see, in the question it is given that f of x or g of x, g of f of x is also defined on R, R to R. So this is the range. This is the range. Or not range. This is the codomain. Sorry. Yeah. This is not the range. This is the codomain. रेंज तो आपको निकालना है. Yeah, my mistake. Sorry. This is the codomain. ये codomain है. क्वेश्चन में कोडोमेन दिया हुआ है R for all of the functions f of x, g of x, g of f of x. But from the graph you can see that only you are getting, if this is y-axis, this is the positive side of the y-axis, this is the negative side of the y-axis, you are getting only the positive values of y as your range. Only the positive values. So this function is definitely not surjective because range is not equal to the codomain. Okay. This is for g of f of x, g of f. Similarly for f of x is also same because it is to the power x. So this is injective but not surjective. Now what about g of x? So here you can see this is the graph of g of x. Now if you draw a line parallel to the x-axis, you can see that it cuts the graph as 2 points. So this function is not injective also because the line parallel to the x-axis is cutting the graph as 2 points. So this function g of x, g of x is not injective. Now we will check about subjectiveness. See the graph. In this graph you can see that the range is again only the positive values because y is equals to x square. You will, whatever value of x you put, you will be getting only the positive values. So, and the domain, the codomain has been given as R, C. F is also a function from R to R. So here also R is given as the codomain and range is coming out to be only R plus, only the positive real numbers. Range is only coming out to be R plus. So your g of x is also not a surjective function, not surjective. Okay, now this is the entire thing we have deduced. Now we will see the options. So you can easily work out. Okay, you can easily choose from them. So what is the first option? It is saying that g of f is bijective, but f is not injective, which is false because बाइजेक्टिव तो बिल्कुल नहीं है क्योंकि जी ऑफ एफ इज नॉट सब्जेक्टिव. बाइजेक्टिव होने के लिए दोनों कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई होना चाहिए, तो फर्स्ट ऑप्शन नहीं होगा. सेकंड ऑप्शन में क्या होता है कि जी ऑफ एफ इज इंजेक्टिव एंड जी इज इंजेक्टिव, which is also false because g of f is injective but g is not injective as you have seen. Okay, from here g is neither injective nor surjective, so this is also false. Third option, g of f is injective but g is not bijective. Okay, this option is correct. Why? इधर देखो, g of f तो इंजेक्टिव है, इंजेक्टिव राइट. Let me take another color. G of f is injective as you can see from here, but g of x, it is neither injective nor surjective. Then how can it be bijective? So g is not bijective but g of f is injective. So this option is correct. Option C. Option C. तो हमारी सिंगल चॉइस आंसर है, बाकी ऑप्शंस को चेक करने की जरूरत नहीं है. ओके, डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड? If you have not understand, then please pause the video and see the solution once again. Okay, this is a very good question. Okay, so we will now move to the next question. This question came in 2019 WebG. This is a question on periodic functions. Okay, so read the question. Consider the function f of x equals to cos x square. Cos of x square is the function. Now we have to find the period of x. Fine. So I will now assume that my period of the function is ft. Suppose I will assume net f of x has a period t. Then I will, if the period is t, then f of x plus t is equals to f of x. That is the definition of periodic function. So that will be cos x plus t whole square is equals to cos x square for all x belongs to R. Now, if I bring this term on this side, then I will get cos a minus cos b, which is equals to minus 2 sin a plus b by 2 into sin a minus b by 2 x plus t whole square minus x square by 2 into sin x plus t whole square plus x square by 2 for all x belongs to 1. Okay. Now, from here, product of two sine terms is 0, then either one of them is 0. So this implies that either x plus t whole square minus x square. So I am jumping one step. Okay, this would basically come out as either sine of x plus t whole square minus x square by 2 equals to 0, or the other term of sine is 0. Now if sine is 0, then the sine of x is 0, then it can be anything, n pi, any multiple of n pi, any multiple of pi. So this would be equals to n pi, or the other term x plus t whole square plus x square equals to pi, n pi, and n can be any integer starting from 0. Okay, now you see here you can put any values of x, okay, any value of x or any value of t as well. You will not always get n pi. Over here also, if you put for some particular values of x and t, this would not come out to be as n pi because this is not an identity. This is just a quadratic equation. In an identity क्या होता है कि कोई भी वैल्यू आप पुट करो a square plus b square plus 2ab equals to a plus b whole square. This is identity for any value of a and b. Let me write a plus b का whole square जो होता है a square plus b square plus 2ab. यहाँ पे आप कुछ भी वैल्यू पुट करो, कुछ भी, हाँ ये 2 plus 3 का होल स्क्वायर, सपोज 2 plus 3 का 5 स्क्वायर, और यहाँ पे 2 स्क्वायर प्लस 3 स्क्वायर प्लस 2ab करोगे तो भी सेम वैल्यू आएगा. LHS equals to RHS always, कुछ भी वैल्यू for any value it is true because it is an identity. But in this case this is not an identity. This is not an identity. This is a quadratic equation. Okay. This is a quadratic. Therefore, this is false. So this will imply that f of x is not having any period at all. F of x is not periodic. So it can happen that in question your question has been asked whether it is periodic or not, and it has asked the period. But it may happen that sometimes the function is not itself periodic. Periodic अगर है ही नहीं तो पीरियड कहाँ से आएगा, पीरियड एग्जिस्ट नहीं करेगा, राइट. So this is the option D is correct for this question. Okay, I hope you understand. Okay, this is not an identity. Okay, this is not an identity. This is just a quadratic equation. This is always not satisfied for all values of x and t. And period is always constant. Period cannot change. Sin x का period 2 पाई होता है. कभी 2 पाई, कभी पाई, कभी 0. ऐसा तो नहीं होता ना. So this cannot happen because this is not an identity. So your function f of x is not periodic. Okay, cool. Okay. Now next question. This is also a question on periodic functions. Uh, okay, this is a bit different because here you have been given periodic equations. Okay, the periodic equation and you have to solve this with a technique. इसको solve करने का एक technique होता है, and that is a fixed technique which you should follow for any type of question of this pattern or category. Okay, so first what I will do, see very carefully. I will put this is the way of solving, and also we say this method to be very much intuitive. Okay, because you have to almost solve this intuitively. So see, first I will put x as x plus 1 in this equation, whatever is given. So after putting this in the given equation, I will get f of x plus 2 plus f of x equals to under root f of x plus 1. Now you will see why am I doing this, so that I get something common or some cancellation can be done. Next, I will put x as x minus 1 again in the first equation, the main equation. Okay, so this would be suppose 1 f of x minus 2 equals to under root f of x minus 1. So why am I doing this? Now see, I will add 1 and 2. Okay, after adding what I will get, f of x plus 2 plus 2 times f of x plus f of x minus 2 equals to under root of f of x plus 1 plus f of x minus 1. Okay, now you see from the first equation, f of x plus 1 plus f of x minus 1 equals to root 2 f of x. So I can put over here, I can substitute f of x plus 1 plus f of x minus 1 as root 2 f of x, isn't it? So basically I have done this so that I can get rid of the term root 2 and nothing else. Okay, the more you practice, the more you can solve this type of questions. This type of questions only can be solved very fast if you have a lot of practice. No other way. I'm very sorry to say, but yeah. If I put root 2 and root 2 into root 2 is 2, 2f of x, and see f of x is 2f of x is cancelled from both sides. Now I have f of x plus 2 plus f of x minus 2 equals to 0. Now I will put x as x plus 2. Fine. Now so after putting this, I had my equation as f of x plus 2 plus f of x minus 2 equals to 0. So if I put x equals to x plus 2, then f of x plus 4 plus f of x equals to 0. Or f of x plus 4 equals to minus f of x. Now I will put x as x plus 4. In this equation. Okay. So I will get f of x plus 8 equals to minus f of 4 minus f of x plus 4. And from here you can see that f of x equals to minus f of x plus 4. So I will substitute this over here and I will get this as f of x. So basically my f of x plus 8 equals to f of x. So this is of the form, which form? F of x plus t equals to f of x, isn't it? I have got this form. So my period would be equals to 8. The period of the function is equals to 8. Equals to 8. Now we have seen how has the use of brain basically everything, maths, physics, chemistry, not in some parts of chemistry, bearing that. You have to use purely your brain. And if you have a bit of idea about the questions, which comes from a lot of practice, then you can solve the questions at a very high speed in the exam hall, because you have to solve 75 questions in 2 hours in WebG. That is a big challenge, because 75 questions practicing in 2 hours needs a lot of practice. Okay, so as you can see here, I have tried to bring down this reduce the equation so that I can get the function in the form of f of x plus t equals to f of x. I have basically reduced the function. Okay, so all this comes from practice purely. Answer is option C. So you keep practicing questions, try to solve 75 questions in 2 hours and do mixed problems, because only questions will not come from calculus. ओके, कोऑर्डिनेट ज्योमेट्री से बहुत क्वेश्चन आते हैं, कोऑर्डिनेट ज्योमेट्री बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, ठीक है। तो सब टाइप का क्वेश्चन, इंटीग्रेशन का क्वेश्चन, डिफरेंशियल कैलकुलस का क्वेश्चन, सब प्रैक्टिस करो, बहुत अच्छे से करो। ट्राई टू सॉल्व 75 क्वेश्चन इन 2 आवर्स। ऐसा नहीं कि 1 आवर मैंने बैठा किया कुछ क्वेश्चन फिर गैप दे के 1 आवर, नो, at a stretch of 2 hours you practice doing the questions, 75 questions. Keep your target like that, then you can definitely do a good. And if you get a good marks in maths in WebG, then your rank would be increased, because that is the ranking criteria. Please read it in your website once. Okay, so today's class is over. Thank you.